My dreams are nightmares. How can I sleep? You got the gun against me.
What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another video. Today we'll be talking about the latest news coming out of the DC world. We'll be talking about the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So I've had some time to reflect on the DC Multiverse figures that McFarlane has just shown pictures for, and so what we're going to do now is actually go into each figure individually, and I'll give you my first impressions on what I think is good about the figure and then what I think could be improved, and that's just on my first impressions. I'm pretty sure when the figures get released my opinions might change, but without further ado, let's get right on into it. And so the first figure we'll be having to look at is Superman. Now, first impressions on this figure, I kind of do like the sculpt on him. I think the face could be a little bit better, but again, that could change when I have the actual figure in hand. Something I do appreciate about this figure is the fact that his cape is nice and flowing. It's just really nice sculpt work, and McFarlane is really good at the cape sculpt work, so I do like that. I love how vibrant the colors are. It's not as purplish blue as the card shows, but it does look like a really rich blue, which I'm pretty sure that's what everybody wants in a Superman figure. I do feel like he comes with a decent amount of accessories, 2 alternate sets of hands. It looks like a pair of fists and a pair of grab hands, but we'll see more when we get the figure in hand. And it does appear that he does come with some kind of flight stand, so that's a really good job on McFarlane's part, and Superman does look like a really strong figure. Now, one thing I do see that I'm not liking about this figure are the single jointed elbows. I really think we're in a day and age where Superman should have double jointed elbows, and this figure does not look like it has it. Again, the actual figure might, but if this is what the actual figure looks like, then he has single jointed elbows. Another thing I'm not a fan of with this particular Superman is the plastic cape. I really wish McFarlane would have ditched the idea of plastic capes and given us fabric capes with wireframe in them. Unfortunately, that doesn't appear to be the case, but Superman here does look like a really impressive figure, and I am looking forward to Superman. The next figure we'll be having to look at is Batman, and again, this does look like a pretty good figure. Now, I'm a little bit weary about this figure, mainly because of the way they have him posed. It looks really weird. I'm not sure if that's a fault on the figure, or maybe the person who was posing them for the pictures didn't actually know how to pose them, and I don't know, there's something about Batman's articulation that does worry me. Like, maybe his ab crunch doesn't work, maybe the belt hinders it a lot, but I do like the range of movement he gets out of the legs. I do like that, and unlike Superman, Batman appears to have double jointed elbows, which I think is a really good plus. The head sculpt does seem a little bit soft on Batman. I would have liked to see a more stern, angry Batman. Again, these are just my first impressions, and we'll have a better look at them when they're actually released. So, as far as I'm concerned, this Batman looks okay. The bat symbol on his chest is a little bit weird. His batarang does seem to be a little bit oversized, and the grapple gun looks good, but I'm not a fan of the pre-sculpted plastic line. I would have liked to see maybe one grapnel gun where he has the line ready to shoot, and then one where it's just a straight line, because I don't like the way they went about it. And again, just like with Superman, the cape. I think we're in a day and age where plastic capes need to be done away with, because I don't know if these are going to be candy shell capes, where it's just a solid piece of plastic that has no movement, or a really soft plastic cape. We have yet to see any information on that, and that's a little bit worrisome, because I don't want a hard candy shell on the figures. I would like to see something that's a little pliable, and hopefully McFarlane did make the capes pliable. So it's supposed to be the Rebirth Batman, but I don't know, there's something about this figure that I'm a little bit wary about. I think Superman, it was a much stronger figure, but who knows, we'll see when we actually have Batman in hand. The next figures we'll be talking about are the animated series figures. Now I'm going to group these guys together just because they are the animated series versions, which I'm perfectly okay seeing that in a multiverse wave. If you're promoting DC as a multiverse, you're going to want to pull from different sources, and I think the animated series is a good way to go, especially because it's something that people identify with. Now, out of the three, I think Green Lantern has one of the biggest issues being with his shoulder. You can see the black plastic caps on his shoulder don't really line up with the green that's supposed to be on his shoulder. Hopefully that's just a promotional defect and the actual thing will have the green painted on or sculpted on. I don't know, but I really hope that that does get fixed. I do like the fact that he does come with a construct. That's something that even Mattel in its later days didn't even give us. So if this is something that they're going to do with Green Lantern moving forward, I want to see more constructs with Green Lantern. Animated series Batman, I think, is a really good figure. He looks the part, and I do like the fact that he does come with different accessories such as a batarang and the grapnel gun and a hand to hold the grapnel gun. Now, just like with the Rebirth Batman, the cape is something I'm a little bit worried about. Again, I don't know if these capes are going to be solid plastic or if they're going to be softer plastic. It's really hard to tell just from the pictures, but I have my fingers crossed that they are soft and they are pliable, because hard plastic capes are really hard to work around, and at least pliable capes you can do a little bit with. Animated version of Superman does look really nice. I think the only thing missing from this particular Superman is the fact that he doesn't have any flat palms for hands. I really wish he had the flat palms so he could do more flying poses, but other than that, I think Superman might be the strongest out of the bunch, and hopefully out of these three, they're all good figures. They all look really nice, but with DC Collectibles doing the exact same thing, it'll be nice to see a little bit of competition between the two companies. So that's my thoughts on the animated figures. So let's actually move on to the next set of figures. Next up, we're having a look at the Batman Who Laughs. Now, the Batman Who Laughs is part of their collect to build Batmobile figures. Now, I think the Batman Who Laughs looks like a really solid figure. Everything about him looks good, from the sculpt to the paint. It's a really good figure to go with for a first series line, and the reason for that is no company as of right now has made a 7-inch or 6-inch Batman Who Laughs, and this is the first time we're seeing him in plastic format. I do like the fact that he does come with his giant knives. Those look amazing, and just the sculpt work on the Batman Who Laughs is quite impressive. Now, if I have one complaint, it's that he's missing something. I think down the road I want to see the Robins that he has released with some actual chain, but as a standalone figure, the Batman Who Laughs was a really solid choice to go with. Now, it does look like he has a Shigaraki thing going where his abdomen will be hindered by his long flowing cape, which it's one of those things that we couldn't avoid, and unfortunately the Batman Who Laughs might lack a little bit of articulation in his torso, but it might be a soft rubber, so we might be able to move that around. We'll see as the figure actually gets released, but for now, I think the Batman Who Laughs is going to be one of the most anticipated figures out of this line. He does look really good, and like I said, I love the Dark Knight Metal series, and it's unfortunate no toy line has done it yet, and this is actually the first time we're seeing one of the Dark Knights in plastic form, so I'm really looking forward to the Batman Who Laughs. So the next figure we're taking a look at is also in the collect to build the Batmobile, and it is the Rebirth Batgirl. Now, this figure does look solid, and the way they're showing her articulation, it looks really, really good, and everything seems to work fine. Just like with the Rebirth Batman, she does appear to have a grapnel gun where the line is sculpted, and again, not a fan of the sculpted grapnel gun line. I would have preferred either no line or just a straight line. I don't know, there's something about the way they sculpted it that doesn't look like it shot out of the grapnel gun. But having a look at the prototype for the figure, I'm a little bit iffy on the head sculpt. Now, it's not necessarily a bad head sculpt, it's just that there's something about the figure that I don't know, the face seems a little bit off to me. It might just be me, but I think McFarlane could have done a much better job on the face sculpt. This is probably one of their weakest face sculpts that they've done for this line. Again, I'm just basing this off promotional images. It isn't the actual figure, so maybe that will change when I get the actual figure in hand. But yeah, the face does seem a little bit weird now. She does have a shorter cape, which I'm probably going to go on about this until the end of time. Please, please, McFarlane, give us some fabric capes. If you're going to do plastic capes, at least give us the option of fabric capes too. There's nothing wrong with plastic capes, but my biggest fear is that they will be candy shells that don't really allow for posing, and they make the figure back heavy and the figure can't stand. I really hope that that isn't the case, that they're actually a softer plastic which would make them lighter and easier to stand up the figure. I have my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping that that is the case, because hard candy capes, they're in a thing of the past, and they need to change, and they need to change now. But Batgirl, again, looks like a solid release. Hopefully the head sculpt looks better on the actual figure, because as it stands, not a fan of the prototype image. The next figure we're taking a look at is one of my personal favorite comic book characters, and that is Nightwing. Now, McFarlane, why you do this to me? Nightwing so early. I'm gonna fall in love with this figure the moment I get it in hand. Hopefully it has no quality control issues. Everything on Nightwing looks amazing. I know a lot of people don't like the way the lower torso looks, but that's the way you have to get double ball joints to work in the torso. The lower torso does have to kind of look like a diaper, and I wish McFarlane had sculpted that just a little bit closer, just so it didn't have that diaper effect. But overall, Nightwing does look like a standout character, and he is part of the collect to build Batmobile. Nightwing looks amazing. Not a fan of the blue mask, but he is basing this off the Rebirth Nightwing, and the Rebirth Nightwing does have a blue mask. The face sculpt does look pretty good. We'll have a better look at it when I actually have the figure in hand. But this does seem to be a really solid figure, and I hope that the blue is somewhat of a metallic pearlized blue, because that would make this so much better. I already like the fact that the Nightwing emblem is sculpted on, so hopefully they continue that with other figures, and I just want to see Nightwing, and hopefully he's as good as he looks, because Nightwing is my favorite character, and I want to see him done justice in another toy line, and I do feel like this figure has that potential. Nightwing is already looking really good, but we'll have a better look at him when we actually get the figure in hand. Just basing it off the prototype image, I'm already falling in love with this Nightwing figure. The next figure I'm taking a look at is Harley Quinn, and just based on this image, Harley Quinn looks to be a standout figure. Now, I do have a couple of issues with this Harley Quinn figure, and the only issue I have about it so far is that it's labeled as Classic Harley Quinn. This Harley Quinn looks like she belongs in the animated series line now. I think it's the face that's throwing it off, because she doesn't have a comic book face. The face that they have on her is more of an animated series. She looks really good, and I'm hoping that Harley Quinn here is a nice figure now. Something I forgot to touch on Batgirl, which I'm going to touch on Harley Quinn, because it is kind of a big deal. McFarlane has done something that not even the great Hasbro has been able to do with its female figures, and give us double jointed elbows. Harley Quinn and Batgirl both have double jointed elbows, and that is amazing. Posing this Harley Quinn will be so much fun, especially with those double jointed elbows. And I already love the mallet she comes with. I think it's done really well, and the peanut pop gun does also look good. I'm just hoping that Harley Quinn is a better figure than these prototypes are showing, because when you see a prototype figure that is good and the actual figure turns out better, it just blows your expectations out of the water, and I'm really looking forward to see how this Harley Quinn does. It looks good, the colors look vibrant. There's a lot of issues I can see coming with quality control, but that's going to be figure to figure. Hopefully Harley Quinn here is as beautiful as she looks, because this is another McFarlane figure that I am really looking forward to. The next figure we'll be having a look at is Arrow from the Arrowverse. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to say that this figure is better than the Mattel Arrow figure. That really is not saying much. Now, I do have to tear this figure apart just based on the prototype image, and this figure looks like it's gonna be garbage. Honestly, he looks like trash. Why is his jacket so oversized? The picture that is next to the actual figure has a nice form-fitting jacket. This figure looks like he's wearing a rain poncho. There's no reason why they couldn't have sculpted that and have it move. I don't know why it's a separate appliance. It looks like crap. Mattel's Arrow was crap to the 10th degree. This one, it looks better, but that overlay looks terrible. I don't know why McFarlane went this route. Honestly, it's a terrible idea. When you take the figure's base and add an overlay over it, it's gonna make the figure look bulky, and that's what it makes the Arrow. He looks bulky, the hood doesn't even fit properly. DC Collectibles nailed their Arrow the first time, and then when they released it the second time, it was even better. Subsequent releases of the Arrow got worse, so I think probably the best Arrow that they released probably was in the Series 1 release, where he had the mask that came out with the first Black Canary and Deathstroke. And then this figure comes with an arrow and a bow attached. That is the worst combination you can ever do, because that already limits how you can have him posed with the bow. Why is he always going to have a drawn arrow? It looks stupid even in these promotional images where he's just holding the bow. The arrow is drawn and nothing's holding it. Why do companies do this? It's stupid. It looks stupid. It looks like crap, and it's terrible. Why did McFarlane go this route? They could have given us a bow with an actual string and arrows. This is not the way to go. I'm mind boggled on how McFarlane was able to screw this up, and this is just the prototype I'm talking about. Hopefully the actual figure is better than this, because it's just terrible how they can't do Arrow justice, and that really upsets me. Hopefully Arrow is much better than this figure, but the prototype looks bad, to be quite honest, and I'm not looking forward to the Arrow. McFarlane actually surprised me going the route of the Hellbat armor. This is actually one Batman armor I never thought we would ever see in figure form. Now, they did a really good job with the Hellbat armor, and the fact that he's actually the same price as the Batman Rebirth, that's pretty impressive, seeing as how much sculpt difference is between those two figures. The Hellbat armor does have a lot of nice detail on it. The panel line looks good. The sculpt work is amazing. And just from the prototype pictures that I'm looking at, I can't say anything negative about this figure. It looks good. The articulation looks solid despite the fact it's a nice chunky figure. If I have one complaint, I'll say it at the end of the video, but the Hellbat armor looks really impressive. The wingspan on this is going to be amazing. Now, it's not a figure I think a lot of people are looking forward to, but I think it will sell just because how nice it looks. It's probably one of the best Batman armor figures that we've gotten in ever, and this is just one figure I want to actually have in hand, mess around with it, because seeing the prototype images gets me hyped for this figure. Hopefully it's as good as it looks, because this already looks good, and like I said with Nightwing and Harley Quinn, when a figure looks good in the prototype images, you want to have it, and when it's actually good, it's much better. And this is one figure that I feel is going to be on probably everyone's top 10 for 2020, and we'll see if he's a good figure. If not, I can see a lot of people hating this, but first thoughts, it looks good. The final figure we'll be having a look at from this first looks is the Unchained Superman armor. This figure looks amazing. The sculpt work on him makes you appreciate what McFarlane is doing with the DC license now. I think the one thing against this figure is the fact that not too many people will know the Unchained Superman storyline, which I think is going to hurt this figure in the long run. But it is another Superman figure that we have never seen before, and that's something that this figure has going for it. The fact that this figure has never been made before, to my knowledge, I think gives it an edge to all the other Superman figures. But at the same time, we have to approach this with, it's an armor that not too many people are familiar with. So when you see the Rebirth Superman and the Unchained Superman armor, a lot of people are going to be more inclined to get the Rebirth Superman than the Unchained armor. But if you're a little kid, I can imagine you wanting the armored up Superman just because it looks so cool. Now, I don't know if this is just the way it's described, but correct me if I'm wrong, are they promoting this as a 9-inch figure? If it's 9 inches, that's a pretty beefy Superman, and I think what they mean by 9 inches is that the wings make him 9 inches, but if the figure itself is 9 inches, that's a beast of a figure. We normally don't get 9-inch figures as a single card. Again, I think that's just saying that the wings, from him standing to the tip of the wings, is 9 inches, because they're also promoting him having a 10-inch wingspan now. I can't imagine him having a 10-inch wingspan standing upright at 9 inches. That just doesn't make sense to me, but I could be wrong. This Superman Unchained armor has a lot going for it, and I really do like it, and hopefully it looks as good as it looks, because this is again another figure that looks amazing, and I want to see this line succeed. So hopefully the Unchained Superman armor is a good figure. So that's my thoughts on each figure individually of the McFarlane DC Multiverse toy line. Now, I do have several issues with the line in general. Now, the articulation does look like it's going to be good on most of these figures, so that's something I'm looking forward to. Now, I think McFarlane really did hit a snag here. They are releasing a total of, 3 different Batman and 3 different Superman? That's a lot of Batman and a lot of Superman. Add to it, we get Harley Quinn, Batgirl, Nightwing. Those are Batman characters. We're also getting Arrow from the Arrowverse and Green Lantern. We're not seeing too much variety here. I understand that when you make a new toy line, you want to have heavy hitters out there. But seeing 6 different Batman and Superman makes me a little bit worried that we're going to see more Superman and more Batman figures than Mattel even produced. And I want this line to succeed, and it's not going to succeed if every single line has Batman and Superman in it. I think one thing that made the DC Universe Classics line succeed so much is the character selection was huge. They rarely gave you a Batman and a Superman. In fact, the first 2 waves had Batman and Superman, and the next waves after that, we didn't see any Batman and Superman up until I believe it was wave 5 when we got the black suit Superman. A line has to be able to stand on its own without Batman and Superman. Mattel made that mistake with the Batman Unlimited and the DC Unlimited when everything was Batman and Superman. The Multiverse line was going in the right direction, but Mattel just stopped halfway. And that's one thing I don't want to see. I'm seeing a lot of people already hating this line because the figures are 7-inch scale, which I'm perfectly okay having a new DC display. I can always just buy new figures and still have my DC Universe Classics on the side. But I'm noticing a lot of people are already saying this line is going to fail. Now, we're not going to see Marvel Legends quality in Wave 1. Even Hasbro did terrible jobs with Marvel Legends. If you have any arguments against that, I will go back and say just look at how many trash figures they have with their Spider-Man. Their first attempt at big time Spider-Man really wasn't that great. So I want to see this line succeed, and I want you guys to give me your honest opinions. Are you excited for the McFarlane Multiverse line? Are you going to pass on it? If you're going to pass on it, let me know why you guys are going to do it, because as a DC fan, I feel like this is the way the line should have been handled by Mattel. But again, not giving us so many different versions of Batman and Superman at the same time. What are your guys' thoughts on the McFarlane toys? I really want to hear your guys' opinion. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'll have new videos up starting on Monday. Happy New Year to everybody, and hopefully everybody sticks around. I'll have new content for you guys coming up, and I'm thinking of starting a new series. I'll explain that more later on as I come up with the idea, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.